In today's video, we dive headfirst into Percy Jackson. I don't want to shock you, but it's going to blow your mind.
Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Book 1, The Lightning Thief. This is the first of 5 books of the original series that Rick Riordan wrote, and it is the original young adult series that he wrote. This one takes place around the Greek mythology. He has one, The King Chronicles, around Egyptian mythology. He is writing, there's a couple around Norse, and then there's one that ties into this one that is more around Roman, but it like mixes in with the Greek. It's pretty cool too. So I've read a lot of his books back when they first originally came out as a child and absolutely loved them. Was less than impressed when the 2 movies came out regarding Percy Jackson. And then hearing that there was a TV show coming out that he was actually producing and had more of a creative hand in, actually having a creative hand in it at all, I was excited. And I was really wanting you to read it because it was a book that I absolutely loved and was, I don't know, they were a series that meant a lot to me. I thought they were pretty cool, and I figured you would enjoy it as well.
Yeah, it's a coming of age book, and he goes to summer camp to talk to a lot of other half-bloods, and he's trying to figure out what happened to his pa and his ma. He wants to know what the heck the gods are up to.
Yeah, that.
And he's all honesty, he's a very interesting protagonist. This Percy Jackson fella, he's got some attention deficit disorder, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
they did
he's
say
hyperactive.
Yes, they did say that all of the demigods have ADHD as well as dyslexia, and that is to make them battle or better for battle. And then the dyslexia comes into play because they're really hardwired to read ancient Greek instead of English. So that's why everything moves around on the page for them. And it sounds like even more intense than dyslexia is. Yeah. At least I think from what I've heard about it. It's like he really can't read it at all most of the time. Like things are like it's constantly moving.
Yeah, and I have a special attachment to that because that's how it felt reading the short stories from English class most of the time. I just wasn't that interested in them. And then when some story really did interest me, the words aligned just right. And I could pay attention and stay focused. But, I mean, I don't have any ADHD or anything. I'm a little dyslexic when it comes to reading. So I like a character that has a very common, thing that a lot of adults experience and find out about themselves. Like, oh, that makes sense about me.
Yeah.
And granted, I don't know anything about, I'm not a doctor, but I think I would use that in the sense of like, no, I'm just battle ready. I'm just ready to take on an entire army by myself.
Yeah, definitely. I think you are.
I think that's super cool.
Yes. So this one, I always loved ancient Greek, the gods and goddesses. I thought were very fascinating, and the way that Riordan takes them and puts them into current society is amazing, and he explains it so well. I don't want to get into too much detail because if you haven't read it, definitely read it. I've watched the majority of the show. It's good. We don't have to get into that. I still think the books are better. Just read the book.
The book was adapted for a reason. The book's quite good.
Yes.
And the show and movie, I think, go through it at breakneck speeds. And you get a little bit of whiplash, and they don't explain a lot of things.
Correct.
And you're like, well, I guess I'm on this quest now. But there's actual urgency inside this book.
Yes.
So, and today, if you haven't noticed our background, I'm also going to pilot this book from what Tori's talking about in a way that I am organizing a D&D session for my players, and the players are Percy Jackson and his friends. So it's going to be pretty interesting.
Yes. So, if you saw our previous one that we did with Scott Pilgrim, the other side of this is character alignments, and this one is character classes. So we've got everything from Artificer all the way down to Wizard. Yes, they are in alphabetical order. So we're going to be going through not all of the characters, but the ones that we felt were actually given enough information that we could determine a class for them. We're going to give them a class.
Absolutely.
And if this goes well, and Clay did say that he liked it, so we might just go ahead and go through the next book and see how they do change and if they do or not.
Yes, and I'm going to break down all their individual subclasses as well as the class. So anyone who's not too familiar with D&D is going to get the complete breakdown. A wizard could be anything from Gandalf all the way to Doctor Who. And everywhere in between, and I'll explain all of that.
It starts out that Percy never does well in school. He doesn't really have a lot of friends. He is struggling. His mom is with this loser Gabe, his stepdad, who just smells. Percy calls him Smelly Gabe. And Percy's like 12 or 13 in this one. And he ends up going with his school on a field trip to a museum, and they're talking about ancient Greek. There's a whole exhibit there.
Yep.
And somehow the bully, this girl, who of course is a redhead, as we said, ends up, Nancy Bobofet, ends up getting pushed into the fountain.
Nancy Boba Fett?
Bobofet. Bobofit. That's her name. And
you know I'm going to edit that photo.
Yeah.
It's going to be her head on the Boba Fett armor.
Good, good. And Percy swears that he didn't touch her, doesn't know how it happened, but then Mrs. Dodds, his algebra teacher, pulls him aside, and he's like, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to get a talking to, I'm going to get detention and all of that. And she ends up turning into a Fury, which is kind of like a harpy. She's got wings and feathers all over her, like talons on her feet. Just very terrifying.
It's like explaining to your aunt what Batman kind of looks like, and she's like, I could design you a suit that looks like that, and that's what she turns into. It's all leathery, so. She's never heard of Batman in her life. She's just like comes up with this suit, and it's basically what a Fury looks like.
Okay, sure.
But it's pretty spooky, I guess.
Yeah, and he ends up defeating her. It's pretty cool.
Well, Chiron is just like, yo, here's this pen.
Yeah, and it turns out to be a sword. So there's clearly something going on here. Percy says that he has been able to see things growing up, but he's just like, it must be my ADHD brain, whatever. I don't know what it is. People keep telling me I'm crazy type of thing.
But he's being gaslit by everyone in the school.
Yes. So it comes to find out that he is a demigod. He doesn't know who his real father is. He's never known. And his mother doesn't tell him. And that was where I read all of these, and I can't for the life of me remember if she actually knows that it is Poseidon. I know she knows that his father is a god, like a Greek god, but I don't remember if she knows.
Percy's like, gross, don't stop calling my dad a god.
Well, in the movie, or the show, he was like that, yes. But they get him to this special Camp Half-Blood, and it's a place where if they can get there before they're killed, the Half-Bloods can train, they're safe there, and a lot of them only spend the summers and then go back into the real world with their families and go to school and all the normal things, and then come back every summer to retrain and just get them. I mean, they have to train because they're going to get attacked by monsters. It's a normal thing as a demigod because of the smell. There's quests that will pop up sometimes, and Percy gets chosen to do this next quest, and it is partly because they think it's him who took it, but Zeus's master bolt has been taken, and I do think this is something that is so far, at least in the show, from what's been out, because at this time only 5 episodes have been released at the time of filming. And in the movie, they never make it all that clear how important this Master Bolt truly is. It is a repeatable atomic bomb. He can just keep firing it and it will just destroy the earth.
Right.
It's gone. They don't know where it is. And Zeus blames Poseidon. So they think, obviously, since Poseidon can't touch Zeus's actual Master Bolt, the gods will use their children a lot of the times to do things for them because they can't interact with each other's things. So they think Poseidon got Percy to get the Master Bolt. And then on top of it, Hades' helmet has gone missing. His helm, this thing on the front, has gone missing. And they also think that Poseidon has taken that as well too through Percy to just create sheer chaos. And it's like, well, what reason? But okay. So Zeus says you have until the solstice to get this back to me, and it's like in 10 days. Percy's like, well, shit, what am I supposed to do? I'm just learning about all of this. So he chooses Grover, who was his friend in school but turns out to be his satyr protector, as well as Annabeth, who is the daughter of
Athena.
Yes. And the 3 of them go on their quest. And it's great. And I loved it. And you liked it. Right?
Okay, so as a D&D GM, I'm going to say, okay, Perseus, you're Percy. You're demigod. And your friends are pretty much demigods. They're the only ones who could go on this quest. Zeus and Poseidon are arguing. They're really angry. And there's a lot of lightning storms and a lot of tsunamis happening all over the world. So it's bad news. And you have until 10 days or all-out war is going to happen along Olympus. So you have to go on this quest because no one else, we can't trust anybody else.
Right.
So you have to go to Camp Half-Blood, pick out a couple of friends, and go on this quest together. I know the camp is kind of cool, but it's also being attacked by monsters. Because I, as the DM, am putting hellhounds into camp, and they're attacking you. And getting all this story driven so you find out more about who you are. You already told me who you are because you picked out this class for yourself. And so now I'm forming this story around you. Like a good GM. I want to make you have fun with this class.
Yes.
So, Percy, what do you think his class is? What powers does he have?
So, he has natural abilities. And that was where I kind of thought, is he a sorcerer? There were some that I definitely, clicked off immediately.
Okay. Percy, what are his best abilities? I would say Constitution.
Yes.
Because he can withstand being in the ocean depths for periods of time. He can withstand poison that we'll get to later. And he can form water. He can pull people towards the water or have the water come to them. He also naturally heals when he's touching water.
So is he a cleric?
Yeah, he is a cleric. So wisdom is actually his best trait because wisdom is the spell casting ability that a lot of clerics use, or all clerics use.
Okay.
Wisdom being not intelligence because he fails English, he fails mathematics, he doesn't really do any of that.
No.
Or focus on it. What he does is he knows ancient Greek, he knows Latin, he knows all about the lore of Olympus and all the gods. His mom has taught him, so wisdom is his best trait. He doesn't use intelligence like Hermione or anything like that to form spells. He feels it and he knows that he can use it. He's got battle knowledge at by the end of the book. Cleric, and he's also, I would say, a Triton. Triton being another Greek god, which is pretty interesting. But Triton is a race of sea-dwelling people, like almost like merfolk. And they have wisdom and strength attached to them naturally. But they can also breathe on land and breathe underwater, which is great. That's going to be our Percy. He just doesn't look like what you're picturing with the gills and everything. He doesn't look like the deep, with his gills or anything. He just does that naturally.
Yes.
And he's got a good way of hiding it. All the Greek gods have a great way of hiding what their actual selves look like. They use avatars. They use, smoke and mirrors a lot of the time. So he's going to be our cleric. He can control water. That's actually a natural ability that Tritons have, I think, at level 1. Also, they have ability to use armor. You'll see Percy, he'll wear armor or big shields and things like that during his training. He's trained with them. So he's proficient. He also uses a sword called Riptide that he also hides as a pen. All he just needs to do is cap it. He takes the cap off, and then he attunes to this magical sword. It's a +1 against a lot of Greek creatures. So he's going to have that. So he's got his strength. So wisdom, strength, and constitution. I think constitution would be like second one. Because strength, he's still just a kid.
And he's working on that.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like, what, 12 years old?
12, 13, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's still young.
And all the abilities that he's going to get from the cleric spell list and leveling up is going to really pose him as Poseidon's kid. All right, so I think we have our Percy. Do you disagree with that?
No, I like that a lot.
And you could be a Tempest cleric. You could be a cleric that really does have water abilities, has storm abilities, like basically your Poseidon.
Okay. Do you want Annabeth next?
Yeah, explain Annabeth a little bit.
Annabeth is, as we said earlier, she is the daughter of Athena. Annabeth is about the same age as Percy, but she has been at the camp one of the longest. She was very young when she got there. She was 7. Not a good relationship with her father at all. Very, very smart girl. She is incredibly driven. I think that would be probably her flaw, is how ambitious she is, because she's almost just one-sided. It's just, I am going to do this and nothing else matters. She does grow within it, but Annabeth was always my favorite.
Yeah.
When I was young, it's changed as I've gotten older, but she not forces herself on the quest, but definitely she wasn't gonna let Percy go without taking her.
Yeah.
She wanted to be on this, and she wants to prove herself.
Very interesting. So I think Annabeth, the only abilities I've seen of hers, like superhuman abilities, is her superhuman reflexes and stamina. Are there anything other than those two things?
No.
She uses basically a big knife as her weapon. And she also has, a shield, maybe? At least in camp?
I mean, a lot in the camp, during the capture of the flag, all of them have shields.
But she does have one magical item, and that was given to her by her mom.
Yes,
which
and
is
that's
a Yankees cap. Yeah. So she puts on a Yankees cap, and she can turn invisible.
Yes.
And that doesn't require attunement, actually. I think a lot of other people could use it.
Correct. She's
Okay.
put it on others, and they can use it.
Gotcha. Okay. So, with all those things being said, the Yankees cap makes her visible or very stealthy, but she isn't stealthy otherwise.
No, she's not. I would not call her a rogue by any means.
She's not a rogue. I think she is a good fighter. But I haven't read other books or the following books that other than the Lightning Thief, so she might multi-class, and I think she would be a contender, from how I predict things, to be a paladin of devotion.
I could see
which is
that.
going to be a pretty interesting, because Athena is like the goddess of battle wits, right?
Battle strategy. Wisdom and battle strategy.
Right. So I think that would be
Athena's on here, so I don't want to talk about her too much.
Okay. Yes. We can talk about her coming up.
Yes. So the third member of this group that's going on the quest is Grover, and he is a satyr. He's technically older than them, but looks like the rest of the kids.
Right.
Grover is wanting to do well because he wants to be able to become a seeker so he can go and search for the god Pan. Grover, naturally, I feel like everyone would just throw him into druid, but I did wonder if he had some... So, if you go strictly off the book, he never talks about, like, the satyr path, but in the show, he talks about, like, oh yeah, this is the satyr path. This is the path that all the satyrs follow along and use along the way. And he was like, my Uncle Ferdinand used this, and you're like, oh no, if you know what happens to his Uncle Ferdinand, you're like, don't go along that path.
Right.
But I was like, that to me is more of a ranger. But I still think there's more druid stuff to him because he's a little bit... Yes, I mean, like, there's the wood nymphs that come out and they can talk to any of them, but he's more in tune with them than the rest of the other characters, like the demigods, because I think it is a satyr thing. They're typically more like that. So
he disagrees with you.
He disagrees with me. Okay.
Are you done? You're on the video now. Okay. Okay.
Otherwise, he's a barbarian.
See, I think that we already have a druid on this list, and that might be coming up.
Okay, so what do you think he is then?
So you can have those flavors, and you can have that nature theme to you. I think that comes naturally with the satyr. You're right on his...
Yeah, and that's where I couldn't tell. I was like, is it because he's just a satyr and that is a natural thing to him?
That's part of his backstory.
Yeah.
But what are his actual abilities? Like, going through the book, he's really good at picking up on someone's emotional vulnerabilities.
Sure,
and reading their
EQ is off the charts.
Right. That is naturally charisma based to me.
True.
And being able to persuade and also talk your way through situations. And he exists purely to support Annabeth and Percy. He says that Pan is what his passive goal, I guess, is, but his primary goal is helping them on their mission.
Yes.
And he doesn't like to take the spotlight. He just likes to prop them up and help them.
And the best part about him, he's a vegetarian. He's almost there. He's almost there. Yeah,
there's a neat little thing in the show, and it's very subtle, but I really like it, when they're eating lunch together.
Very first episode.
And then they trade their lunch meat for the cheese.
Yes.
For their sandwiches and eat that.
He gives Percy his lunch meat, and Percy gives him his cheese. Yep, that was great.
And then, so... Satyrs also are huge into charisma based for Dungeons and Dragons. Their charisma is off the charts. So they naturally make excellent bards. So I would actually put Grover in the bard category.
Okay.
He is great. He's actually a kind of a spellcaster. He uses his ability to negotiate with animals all the time.
That is true.
And if you can have animal handling or animal friendship as one of your spells, naturally you're going to be a vegetarian because he can hear their thoughts. And so I would put him in the bard category because he also gives inspiration. You notice that Percy Jackson only has had a little bit of battle training, and Annabeth is going through the calculations in her head. She's like almost like an eldritch fighter because she's got that high intelligence and then high strength. I would say Grover is responsible for building them up and inspiring them to succeed in whatever challenge they're coming across. And we're only talking like level 1, level 2.
Oh yeah.
For right now.
Yes.
But this is how their story begins.
Yes.
So, would you disagree that he's in that bard kind of category?
No, No, I can see that. I do see that. He does have animal handling, animal friendship. He does. Is it the flute that he does play?
He does have the musical instrument. He has Pan's flute. So he does have the musical instrument, and that's how he inspires. He knows only two songs.
He does know 2 songs, yes.
One is by Beethoven.
Yes.
And then the other one, do you remember the other one?
Yeah, it's a Hilary Duff song.
Yeah, it's Hilary Duff. So that's perfect for a Dungeons and Dragons group. That's usually how it goes. Mm-hmm. So
yes.
He's a musically inspired spellcaster.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I thought we would go through a few more characters from the actual camp, and then we'll get more into the Greek gods.
All right.
So, first one, the camp, one of the ones that we meet that I really like a lot, and so far I've not been a fan of how she's been portrayed within any of the movie or shows, is Clarice.
She's a complicated character.
She is. She is a daughter of Ares. She is a tank. That girl looks fierce.
Yes.
Don't want to piss her off. She's usually considered the leader of the Ares house cabin.
And actually, she's a bully. She's a punk and a bully. And she is intimidated by Percy Jackson being there.
You think so?
I think so.
Maybe that's why she's that way.
I mean, that's a lot of bullies.
The big theme overall of a lot of these kids at the camp is that they're all trying to gain the attention of their parents.
Yep.
And it's something that will continue out through the series and something that does get addressed, thankfully.
Yeah.
But Clarice, I was potentially thinking that she was either a fighter or a barbarian.
I would have said barbarian, actually.
Okay. Because I was like, does she have second wind? Because I wasn't sure how you would take some of this stuff, like the fighting scenes, but yeah. I figured she was more of the barbarian.
She would be a fighter, but she doesn't seem to know how to control her rage.
That's true, she doesn't.
And she uses her strength. The book describes her as a pretty, wide set, or wide-shouldered, or broad-shouldered. There we go.
Yes,
broad-shouldered and, big triceps, just like she's been working out all the time, just to try to alleviate some of that anger. And being the daughter of Ares, I would imagine he's got an effect over people just being around him that makes you naturally more bitter and angry. It's like you want to battle.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good start for her.
Okay. Then the last camper that I had was Luke. Luke is the son of Hermes, and he takes Percy under his wing because he's older. He's the leader of that cabin, and the Hermes cabin will take in not just his own children, but also any unclaimed children. So their cabin's fairly large, considering there's a lot of unclaimed kids, unfortunately. And Luke has known Annabeth since she was 7, so they've been at the camp for 5 years together now.
Yep.
And Luke gives Percy some words of wisdom, as well as the flying shoes and all of that. We don't have to get into everything else, but he's there. So,
Boots of Flying, which exists in D&D.
Yes, and he got those from his dad. He says he did. He might have taken them. I don't know, because Hermes is also the god of thieves. So, I don't know if he actually was given them or just took them himself. Who knows?
Yeah, which is also a great little tease or clue as in what happens. But so when the book starts, I would have also put Luke in fighter.
Yes, because he is considered to be the best fighter at camp.
Should we save that for the very end of where Luke goes and put him in fighter for right now?
No, we can do it now. We've already gotten past spoilers.
Okay, well, he definitely went into Olympus and stole the bowl.
Yeah.
He got caught by Ares, and then both of them were convinced by Kronos to fulfill this master scheme and perpetuating this huge war. So Luke is definitely not the most chillest dude. He's got a backstory where on his last quest, a girl that he really liked, Thalia, she died, and he's a little petty. But his abilities is what I want to talk about. You know what he does and what he can do? He conjures a scorpion.
Oh, that's right, he can.
And then Percy goes to stab it. He's like, I wouldn't do that. This scorpion jumps really fast and can poison you.
And he got those powers not from his father. He got that from Kronos, because that scorpion is a pit scorpion and comes from the pits of Tartarus, which is where Kronos currently is.
Yes. Charisma is going to be something that's very important.
He does have high charisma. Everybody
Yes.
likes Luke. Luke is cute. Everybody likes him.
So, but those abilities were gifted to him from a very dark, almost eldritch kind of being. Kronos being like an eldritch horror is how I would put him in my game. I know he's not that. It's not H.P. Lovecraft. It's a Greek god.
No,
the father
he's a
of
titan.
God. Titans.
He's not a god.
Primordial or something.
He might be at this point because of what they did to him.
Yeah.
He's probably
He's
fucked
literally
up
just a
looking.
pit right now.
He's in the pit, but he's pieces, and he's slowly trying to piece himself back together.
Right. So Luke also, to get out of that situation, because Percy does end up killing the scorpion, he teleports away.
Yes, he does.
So he can teleport, or at least Misty Step.
Yes.
Luke is a warlock.
Yes.
He is an eldritch. He is a hexblade warlock. So
he sold his soul.
I don't know if he can summon that weapon, or like usually you have an eldritch weapon that you can conjure for yourself. That's unique for your character. But I would say warlock for right now, because all warlocks have that good kind of fighter ability. You can basically, if you have enough experience in D&D, you can take on a lot of level 1 fighters. That's not a big deal. So he's just been in camp for a long time, and now he's made a pact with a very bad Titan. So he's our first warlock.
Yeah. He might be our only one. I don't know. I have to remember. Okay, and then Chiron.
Yep.
Who I love. Chiron is a centaur. He is actually, in the Greek stories, he was the trainer of heroes. He trained Hercules, and he is at the camp now and helps train all the half-blood kiddos.
Yep.
So we don't see him doing a ton. So I was like, this one might be a little trickier, but I still love his character so much. I wanted to throw him in.
I wanted to see what he was capable of. I think he's really a wisdom build.
Yes.
And he is really good at seeking out half-bloods.
Yes.
And bringing them to camp safely. He might be our first ranger. Chiron the ranger.
I could see that.
Yep. He is very intelligent. He kind of has an Aragorn sensibility about him.
And I don't know if you remember in the books, he does talk about the rest of the centaurs, because Percy makes a comment like, "Oh, are there more of you?" And he's like, "Yeah, there are, but they're not around here."
No.
And he's like, "Why? Like, why not?" It's like, they're a much more wild bunch of characters than I am, type of thing. So he is truly like a.
Sometimes I just start a sentence and I don't know how to end it. I'm like Michael Scott. All right.
He's a rare case for a centaur. He's unique for what he is.
Right. They have gathered a lot of satyrs because they have that kind of natural following of the what are they, dryads in the area?
And wood nymphs, but that's also because the satyrs are led by Mr. D.
Mr. D, one of my favorite characters in the book.
Yes, Dionysus.
He is so rude. He's really funny. I think casting Jason Mantzoukas is perfect.
Yeah.
I think he nails it. He doesn't go like completely over the top either. He just looks like he's over it.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to fulfill his sentence.
Yeah.
He can't even drink anymore.
So he got in trouble, and Zeus punished him by sending him to help manage the camp, and he's not allowed to drink, which he is. One of the things he's the god of is spirits. So
yeah. Peter Johnson?
Yes.
Wait, who is Sally Jackson?
Yeah. So Dionysus.
The god of wine and...
He's the god of quite a bit of things. He's one of... Okay, so I didn't know if you know this, but the Big 12 used to actually be 6 men and 6 women. But the goddess of the hearth and home stepped down from the Big 12 because Mr. Dionysus threw a fit, and so he became one of the 12. So within the U shape, there's all of the men are on this side of the camp, and all of the women's are on this side, except Dionysus's is the bottom there. He's of like good times, spirits. He's also the leader of the satyrs, so he does have that nature ability. Like his children are very good at growing fruit. He doesn't have them grow grapes because he's not really allowed to. So he has them grow strawberries, and they actually sell those. And I think that's part's kind of cool.
You're so close. You're about to describe what class he is.
Oh. Druid?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
So you notice that the followers, the people that are like the children of these great beings, are more like clerics and fighter. Like they're trying to figure it out. Where you have your gods that are the full spellcasters and things like that.
Yes.
That's how I would describe Greek mythology.
Yes.
So Dionysus is a druid. He is just like a really cool flavor of a druid. Like usually you're thinking of like your druids that are like, we respect the leaves that we step on. He doesn't care. He's like, whatever. He's just
I think
just super over it.
He does care, but he shows it in a very different way. Yes, because he's been around for how freaking long. So yeah, I think that's part of it. And
he wears a kind of a Hawaiian shirt and some just ripped jean shorts.
Yeah, he's like, I fucking don't want to be here. And children. And I would be like that too if I had to work with children for hundreds of years.
And if Percy is out of line or he says something disrespectful, he's like, remember, I could destroy you with a mere thought. It's a mere thought, I could destroy you.
Yeah, he could. He could scramble your brain.
You're right. So, don't get on his bad side. He is a pretty high level druid.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So we have Chiron and Mr. D. I think we pretty much got all of Camp Half-Blood.
We do have all the camp, and so Dionysus leads us into the rest of the gods. So I'm going to do, because you love him so much, we're going to do Ares.
Ares? I do love Ares.
Ares is great. So what's Ares the god of?
I don't know. What do you think I'm going to say? Because I have all these planned out.
Oh, you gotta say what he's the god of.
He's a god of war. He's also a god of thievery?
No, that's Hermes.
That's
said
Hermes.
That earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cut that out.
I'm gonna cut that out.
Yeah. Get that away from me.
Yeah.
That thought. No, Ares is the god of war in Conquest. He has been explained as being the one that's overseen all of the world's wars. The world wars.
World's Wars?
World's Wars, yeah.
World's Wars.
Ever since, going back to the Trojan War, all the way through, before that, too. And all the way up until World War II, and even going up to modern times. World War II is going to be super important for this story. Because that's about the time where the main three Hades, Zeus, and Poseidon.
The big three is what they're
The
called.
big three all agree to have no more offspring.
Correct.
Because they're getting too powerful.
Correct.
And so Ares is one of the guys tasked with fighting the Thunderbolt.
All the gods are, but yes, he was like, go find it, Ares. So, Ares does do a lot of fighting, is known to actually fight in the wars. Because he loves it.
Yeah.
He's a great fighter. So
well,
I did wonder...
Being around him, it's just going to make you more brutal, too.
Yes, I did wonder if he was a fighter, but at the same time, he did have that moment on the beach where I was like, he's fucking going rage mode. So I'm like, is he a barbarian then?
I think you're getting closer, but he is a spellcaster. I will say
That's true, he is a spellcaster.
What else can you use charisma for, mainly?
He is, yeah, he does have high charisma.
Intimidation.
Yeah.
He knows how to intimidate. His whole demeanor, like you see him, he's got this black jacket, like motorcycle jacket. He has a motorcycle with like skulls, and he's got, basically what looks like human skin overlaying like
it
the
doesn't
seat
look
cover.
like, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yes.
It's legit human skin. Also, the way he's described, now this is a young adult book, so Mr. Riordan did not say this. This was my interpretation of it. But Ares doesn't have sex. Ares fucks.
Wow. Well, sorry.
He does.
I don't know if we have any young listeners.
No.
You gotta bleep that out. Your first major bleeper.
I've said this before. I'm like, you can tell by the way that he's written. It's like, nah, he's gonna fuck hard.
All right.
Yes. So where's
what's that class?
Where's the fuck hard class?
Jeez. Oh my gosh. We don't even get monetized yet, so I'm not worried. So, Ares, he is going to be a paladin.
Oh.
Now, hear me out.
Okay. I
know
wouldn't have put him there, but I don't know paladins as
there
well.
are clerics of war.
Yes.
That could describe Ares. And in certain interpretations, it does, because he can smite his opponents.
Yes, he can.
But Paladin, you have to think of how high a level he is and where he's coming from. He's got all of these wars and battle knowledge, and he just hates humanity, right? He just wants to see it just kind of kill each other.
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think he hates humanity. I think he just loves to see the conflict. He's one of those people that's like, oh, I don't like drama, but then it's like, oh, I love to be in drama.
Right.
Like, he wants to see it. He wants to be in there, and that's why he loves to actually be in the battles. If you read any of the old Greek stories, he was there during the Trojan War. He was there fighting to try to break down that wall. They remember seeing the flames in some fighter's eyes next to them.
That's where he wears glasses in this.
Yes, and I think he loves it, and he loves humanity for that, because they give that to him. Okay,
so he's going to be a paladin of conquest.
Yes.
That's going to be your main warmongering paladin. You can do so many different smites. You can do blinding smites, you can do branding smites, basically all those fire-like abilities. You can also have some cantrips at your disposal. Remember when he gets stabbed, he does like this booming, just kind of yell, like primal roar on the beach, and everyone's like, whoa, what the heck happened? Even some of the water backed up. You can do that with cantrips in this game.
Okay.
So he is.
Yeah, I don't know paladins well. It's kind of a blind spot for me.
And they're known to have these auras, and I don't know the specifics of paladin order, their auras around them. If you're around certain paladins, you have like a aura of protection where your saving throws are improved and things like that. His aura being everyone gets pissed off around him.
Yeah, is there like an aura
and maybe he has
of
like an aura
assery?
Of I think like aura of just hitting stuff.
Okay.
If you're around the paladin, you're more likely to hit stuff. So he's going to be a paladin in this.
Okay.
And he's got a cool sword.
He does have a really cool sword.
He disguises it as an aluminum bat.
Yes. Okay, so I want to get into Ares' girlfriend.
Okay.
Who is?
Aphrodite.
Thank you. And she is the goddess of...
Love.
Yes. And everything beautiful and all of that.
Yep.
So we don't actually meet her in this book, but we hear a bit about her. He sends Percy and the gang on a little side quest to do stuff, and I feel like we do hear enough about her to potentially put her in a class as of right now. Things could change as the story goes along. But where do you think the goddess of love goes?
I don't know too much about her, honestly. I think the goddess of love, I would say, has a demeanor around her where it kind of like tempts other people.
So her children have
like enchanting a little bit.
What I know of her children, they're going to use more of their charisma and trying to persuade you out of things than they are going to actually come straight at you to fight. They will, like they did participate in Capture the Flag. They do pick up swords. They do all their regular training like everyone else, but they're the ones who are going to just use more of their words and their appearances. They're gorgeous. All of their children, or all of her children are.
Is she super intelligent?
I think she is smart. I think she does have high intelligence. I think knowing what you have and how to use it is intelligence.
Because my first thought, and it's again flavor, I would almost put her in, but it's charisma.
Yes, that's where I was thinking. She's got high charisma.
I would almost put her in wizard with like, that one's tough. Honestly, I would almost put her in rogue.
I was thinking rogue with what some of
like
I know is her children.
Yeah.
Yeah, is what I know of her children.
Rogues are also known to use words in like magical sense to get them out of bad spots. Yes. They are known for sneaking around, and sneaking around she does.
She does.
And I think that's a good spot for her, and the colors kind of match each other, so that's fun.
Okay. So, to go along with Aphrodite, we did say her boyfriend was Ares, but she does actually have a husband. Naughty girl.
Hephaestus?
Yes. Which I do feel oh so bad for. I do like him rather a lot, and I feel like he's a given on this. And he is one of the Big 12.
Yep.
What is he the god of?
He has his own camp, right? Or his own
cabin.
He's the god of battlesmithing and invention, right?
Yes, so they're, like, if you've seen the show, they have Percy try out doing blacksmithing, like actually making a sword. Those were the Hephaestus kids. They're usually...
He designed Riptide, I think, right? Maybe they don't allude to that.
Maybe they did. But they're usually... They're burly kids too, like Ares' kids as well. Like they're bigger. They've got some strong ass arms on them because they're in there and they're forging all of the weapons. They're very smart on how to do those. They're very good with their hands.
Correct.
So that one I think is our one and only artificer.
I would say artificer is a really good bet. I think he invents all these different types of smithing equipment, and he actually comes up with the ways to make all these weapons, design them in a way, and he also invents little traps and little, what do you call them? Those little spiders. Those
spiders, yeah.
Yeah. That are made to trap whoever Aphrodite was with at that time in that tunnel of love. So I think Hephaestus is good to go there, and if I were to include his followers or his cabin, you could make a argument for either artificers themselves and also clerics, those that take on the domain of forging and the forge. A lot of dwarves definitely would follow Hephaestus.
Yes.
they're all about that life, using different materials and combining those to make these big weapons or armors or whatever they're working on at the time.
So he's usually seen with the goggles, and if you haven't seen the Disney animated Hercules, what are you doing with yourself?
Yeah.
But when the Titans are coming to Olympus, Zeus says, "Hephaestus, I need more bolts," and he's trying to turn them out. So he is the one that makes a lot of the gods their weapons.
So maybe he designed the Master Bolt.
I believe he did, yes.
He's like, I'm tired of getting you more bolts. Just use this one.
Yeah.
It's devastating.
Exactly. So now we're gonna get into. I'm gonna save the big three.
Yep.
We're gonna get into one more that we haven't actually met, which is Athena, goddess of wisdom and battle strategy. I think what you said was she's a wizard.
You're a wizard, Larry.
What? No, Athena.
Athena. So Athena, you don't get much about her. She's not a character. She wasn't like cast or anything in the movies or shows. She's just talked about by Annabeth.
False. She is in the movie. They all are. You don't actually hear her speak.
Tricks on you. The movie's forgettable. So Athena, basically, she's the goddess of battle strategy. They play chess a lot together. She tries to teach Annabeth many life lessons, but she's also not the nicest.
No.
She's gonna make you regret challenging her.
She's vindictive and holds grudges.
She can basically turn into like Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or the Pharaoh. It's like, yeah, Shadow Games, let's do it. But the polymorph is one of her spells that you can cast on somebody. So I would say wizard because intelligence being their highest trait.
Yes.
On top of having very high level spells like polymorph, without even a mere thought, she's like, boom, done. I would say wizard is going to be her ability.
And she's the one that turned Medusa into what Medusa is.
Yes, they're very sly. You have to watch out for a high level wizard. They're not, if a high enough wizard's not going to even have to fight. So she's depicted with a spear and a shield, but I think that's all for show. It's just to show basically what she's about, but she doesn't have to use them.
No. Okay, so we'll go with our big three, and we do actually meet them in the book. First one being Hades.
Hades. Hades, I think, so obviously a monk. Moving on.
What?
No, I'm just joking. I just noticed that the monk was very lonely.
It is very lonely. So sorcerer.
I would say
no repeat so far.
Hades hasn't done too much in the book. He mostly just sits on his chair and commands an army of the dead.
That is really flippin' cool, Clay.
It is cool. And
you make that sound like that's not cool.
All of his undead are not just like medieval warriors. We're talking like World War II to modern warfare kind of zombies that have rocket launchers all pointed at Percy Jackson and his crew.
And his cloak is like souls in there. There's faces in there going on. He's freaking awesome.
Yes, and he's got this helm of doom or whatever it is.
He's like an edgelord.
No one even knows what this helmet does. For all we know, it makes his eyes glow harder. He's like,
I'm cool with that.
I'm cool in here.
I do have a problem though that ever since James Woods played him, I can't unhear James Woods' voice.
Boom, bada boom. Yeah. You're wearing his merchandise. Yeah.
It's like, I'm cool. Okay.
I'm cool. I'm good. I'm cool. So I would kind of leave this up to you. I think he's also super intelligent. I think people could get one over on him pretty easily, though. I'm leaning towards Sorcerer because he is naturally charismatic.
Okay, so the thing that I said to you, though...
He doesn't, create the undead, though.
No. He didn't want that job. I don't actually know what he is good at because he's never been given a chance to be good at it.
Yep.
He is very, very powerful because his children are very powerful.
Yep.
They hint that Hitler was one of his. Yes, that was one of his kids.
I told you World War II would be important to this.
Yes, part of the reason why. Yes.
Because Zeus and Poseidon controlled the Allies.
Yes.
Whereas Hades controlled the Axes.
Yes.
So they had a very huge hand in a lot of war, probably a lot of wars before that and after that.
Oh yeah, I think it was just like, oh shit, we did get very close to ending the world, so let's calm the fuck down and we shouldn't father any more children.
Hades actually said that, made that recommendation, because
He
he's
did.
like, why do I want Zeus's bolt? Because I have more deaths nowadays than any other time in the world.
And the more deaths actually make him more powerful. So he's like, I'm busy down here. I don't need that. But I did think it was interesting. So out of all of the other gods and goddesses, he is the most out of tune with what is currently happening in a sense of like cultural feels. So the rest of them dress more and look more of what the current age is, but he doesn't. And I think that is because he is in the underworld, and so he doesn't really see it as much, nor is he around people that would care. Like, they're dead, you know? Everyone's in a bunch of clothes, however they died in.
Right.
So they're not gonna give a shit. That was something, but I don't know why, but I just think that was interesting. I thought in there, because the movie got that wrong, and it really bothered me.
Yeah. I don't know. He just has a lot of like godlike abilities. I would say either sorcerer or wizard. Wizards, you have your necromancy, is why, because you can take life away, or you can heal somebody else and put life into it.
Okay,
it's
so
like
that's
you're playing
a wizard?
magic that's like white-black.
Okay, knowing what happens later on, he's a wizard.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Our first twofer.
And knowing what happens to his children? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Spoiler alert. He has kids. Okay. Zeus.
He's such a baby. He is a big baby in this story. God. So I knew that.
I want my bolt. I want my bolt and I want it now.
I knew that going into it from playing God of War 3. He's such a baby all the time. He wants his bolt. He's not willing to do anything. He doesn't even put his bolt away safely. It's just out in the open, is how Luke describes it. It's just sitting there. And then you blame everybody else when it goes missing.
Yeah.
So he's a big rage baby. I would say.
Remind you of somebody else when they lose their keys and then they're like, "Why? Where are my keys?
Right.
Where are my keys, Tori?
That person
Where
does.
are my keys? I don't know where my keys are. Do you know where my keys are? What'd you do with my keys?" And I'm like,
That's just me trying to hint that I wanted keys.
hint, hint.
Yeah. I just want keys. But anyway, I would say he's not very intelligent. I don't even know if he's really that wise. Because he literally has this charisma build where he's just like, I'm gonna do it with whoever I want. I'm gonna do whatever I want. And I'm gonna blame everybody else at the end of the day.
I'm literally married to the woman who's the goddess of marriage, who will not have children with anybody else.
Right.
Yeah, but it's okay. I'm gonna go fuck around. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I can also turn myself into a goat and have sex with human women.
He would also turn himself into a literal shower of gold. And I say that instead of a golden shower because that means something else. But he would be a shower of gold and like come down over people.
Gross.
And then they would be impregnated. And I would be so pissed because I wouldn't want to get pregnated that way.
It's called the mother load.
I'd be like, excuse me, if I have to be pregnant, I'd want to at least have the fun part first.
Yeah. Zeus is also depicted as a bad guy in Marvel. He's depicted as a bad guy in Harley Quinn series. He's just a bad guy.
Yeah.
All the time. I do not...
Yeah, okay, well he was also supposed to, the original plan was that the big three, they were supposed to rotate every so many years because no one wants to rule the underworld. But he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't leave his throne.
He's such a jerk.
He wouldn't do it, and that's why Hades
is like, yeah, you made me play the Nazis I don't know how many times in Call of Duty. Do you want to do the next one?
Yeah.
Like,
No.
I'm American, baby.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm the good guy.
Yeah, and Poseidon wasn't happy either, but then he was kind of like, I don't know, this is pretty cool, and I'm like second in command, and so I don't really want to rock the boat because I could get a worse fate, you know? So let's just leave it as it is. And
right.
Yeah, so I get why Hades is pissed. I've always felt like it's a shit job. And the Roman name for Hades is Pluto.
Mm-hmm.
Pluto is no longer a planet. What the fuck is that about?
All right. Well, I mean, we can talk about Hades.
Sorry. I feel bad for him.
But I would say he's a sorcerer.
Okay.
So I would also multi-class Zeus if just going off of his powers. He doesn't really display any of his powers other than like the big storm that they have roaming or looming in the distance when they are initially fighting him and Poseidon. Mm-hmm. But that's a storm sorcerer kind of ability. Mm-hmm. You can, as a storm sorcerer or a sorcerer, you have meta magic where you can manipulate your lightning bolts. You can twin spell your lightning bolts. You can extended spell. You can have big effects from like.
Well, I
you're the
figured
master
his bolts
of that
were like his magic missiles.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was thinking. He was a sorcerer.
And with enough of a following, he's probably multi-classed into cleric. So you have this big badass lightning thrower, and with cleric you have an ability that makes you channel divinity. And as a sorcerer, you have all this lightning. You have a big handful of lightning damage, right? Mm-hmm. Of all its dice, and you roll it, and then channel divinity says you can make all of those dice its max.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so it's a big bomb going off.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm good with him being a sorcerer right now.
Okay, last but not least, Poseidon.
Poseidon, Lord of the Seas. You know, I don't know why Druid hasn't had like an archetype that devotes purely to the sea. I think that's super cool as a concept.
Yes.
You always see them in the forests. Like, yeah, there's enough of you in the forest. What about, like, space-time as a druid? Yeah.
Well, yeah, they should, because we've got space trash.
We've got space trash.
Yeah.
What about, I think Pointy Hat did one that's, like, more city-based. Like, where you're within the city and you're trying to change 616 into Earth 838, where everything's covered in, like, moss and it's all clean energy. There's no cars or anything like that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
They're devoting their life to make sure that happens.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Check out Pointy Hat. That's a good video. But for Poseidon, I would say he might just be at a higher level than this.
Oh, like father, like son.
Yeah. Because Poseidon has a trident, right? He disguises it as a fishing pole. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. He can communicate with a lot of animals, sea life, horses. Horses came from the ocean. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that Percy can talk to horses, but only horses. Like when they're stuck on the transport, when they're smuggling animals, it's only the zebra that he can hear in his mind, and the zebra's like, "Let me out, master! Let me out! That's all you need to do."
Yep.
And Percy's like, "Holy shit! What is happening?" And then he lets a zebra go out in the middle of Las Vegas.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm good with that list.
Okay. I'm gonna pull it a little closer here.
There's a lot of fights and a lot of talking between characters, and then once you read the book, you'll notice that I am 100% right on this list, and no debate even needs to happen or be entertained, really.
Yeah.
I think I'm good at this list.
Okay.
Let us know in the comments, though, if there is a monk or anything that you see coming in the story for next time.
Yeah.
Maybe Hermes, because he never does have any weapons. He's really light on his feet. Probably could even walk on water with his little winged boots and deflect stuff. And then he's just like, I'm gonna deflect your missile, but I gotta go because I gotta deliver this.
Yes.
He could be a monk. I would put Hermes on monk.
Yeah.
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 Just edit Hermes on monk.
Edit them here. Edit him there. Okay. So if you did like this, make sure you let us know down in the comments below. If you want us to continue with the next book, we could do more of this. We could talk about the alignment like we did with Scott Pilgrim, or we can move on to another property or whatever you want to talk about. Also, don't forget, we do have our current giveaway that our winner will be announced on January 19th in the communities section on the YouTube's page. So if you haven't, hit that like, subscribed, and commented on that giveaway video. Make sure you do so now.
All the YouTube stuff. You know what to do. Why aren't you doing it? It's just a click. It helps us out. And more importantly, you'll feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Knowing that you helped us out.
And it's free for you. It costs us money, but it's free for you.
Yes.
Okay, I think I hit everything, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Can we go now? Because I really gotta pee.
I'm hungry, and I gotta roll this.
Oh gosh. Okay, what are you gonna get?
17! Unbeatable.
Nice.
There's nothing higher than a 17. Don't even look.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.